The espresso machine hisses behind me, a sound I've learned to tune out along with the clatter of plates and the low murmur of conversation that fills Luciano's every night. My feet ache in these cheap black flats, the ones with the cardboard insole that disintegrated 2 weeks ago, but I can't afford to replace until Friday's paycheck clears. The tray balanced on my left hand carries 3 orders of osso buco, the rich smell of braised veal, and saffron risotto, making my stomach twist with hunger I've been ignoring since my 6 a.m. shift at the diner ended. Table 4 ordered 20 minutes ago. 4 men in expensive suits, the kind that whisper money without shouting it. They speak in Arabic, voices low and urgent, and I catch fragments as I weave between tables. My mother's voice echoes in my head, the only gift she left me before the cancer took her 3 years ago. She taught me Arabic alongside English, stories of her childhood in Beirut woven into grammar lessons at our tiny kitchen table in Queens. I'm 3 steps from table 4 when the words crystallize into meaning. The poison is already in the kitchen. His meal will be the last thing he tastes. My hand freezes mid-step. The tray tilts dangerously. I steady it through pure muscle memory, but my mind is racing, translating, retranslating, praying I heard wrong. You're certain the cook has been paid? Another voice. Older. Calm like discussing weather. Triple what we usually pay. He understands the consequences of failure. I move past table 4 without stopping, delivering the osso buco to table 6 with a smile that feels carved from wax. My heart hammers against my ribs. I'm 26 years old. I have $43 in my checking account, and I just overheard a murder plot in the middle of a Thursday dinner rush. If you're enjoying the story so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. I love hearing from you. I scan the dining room. Table 4, the 4 men in suits, they're looking at table 9. All of them. Their attention fixed like laser sights on a single target. Table 9 holds 3 men. 2 of them I recognize as regulars. The third sits with his back to the wall, dark hair swept back from a face that could have been carved by someone who understood the mathematics of intimidation. Sharp jaw. Dark eyes that miss nothing. A black suit that probably costs more than my rent. Matteo Sorrentino. I've served him twice before. He never looks at me directly but tips exactly 23%. The other servers whisper about him in the kitchen. Mafia, connected, dangerous. I've learned not to ask questions about customers who make the owner, Giuseppe, nervous enough to personally deliver their wine. And someone is about to poison his food. I push through the swinging door into the kitchen. The heat hits me like a wall. 3-line cooks work the stations. Expediter calling orders. Dishwasher creating a percussion of clattering plates in the back. Which one has been paid to kill a man? The order ticket for table 9 hangs on the rail. Risotto alla Milanese. Branzino. Pappardelle au ragu. I watch Marco plate the pappardelle with practiced precision. Nothing looks wrong. But poison doesn't announce itself. The kitchen door swings open. Jessica grabs the plates for table 9. I'll take those. The words come out before I've thought them through. Jessica frowns. Giuseppe assigned me table 9 tonight. Giuseppe wanted me to personally handle the VIP tables. New policy. It's a terrible lie. Jessica's eyes narrow, but she releases the tray. Fine. But if you're stealing my tips, you can have whatever they leave. The pappardelle sits in the center. Steam rises from the wide ribbons of pasta coated in dark meat sauce. It looks perfect. Smells perfect. And somewhere in that perfection is poison meant to stop a heart. Table 9 is 15 steps away. 12. 10. Matteo Sorrentino is speaking with the man to his left, his voice too low for me to hear. 8 steps. The men at table 4 have stopped talking. They're watching. Waiting. 5 steps. I have no plan. Just the sick certainty that if I set this plate down, he'll be dead before dessert arrives. 3 steps. My foot catches on nothing. A phantom stumble that my body manufactures with theatrical precision. The tray tilts. Time stretches. I see the pappardelle slide, the white plate tipping, the ragu beginning its inevitable arc toward disaster. I let it fall. The crash is spectacular. Porcelain shattering against marble floor. Pasta exploding across expensive leather shoes. The entire dining room goes silent, all conversation stopping as every head turns toward the catastrophe. Oh my God! I drop to my knees immediately. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. Step back, miss. The voice comes from above me. Low. Controlled. Absolutely devoid of emotion. I look up. Matteo Sorrentino stands over me. He's taller than I realized, and from this angle he looks like something carved from shadow. His dark eyes hold mine for exactly 2 seconds before moving to assess the damage. I'll pay for the shoes. My voice comes out smaller than I intend. It's fine. He says it like he's commenting on weather. Then he turns to the man on his left, switching to rapid Italian. Something about leaving. Something about the meeting continuing elsewhere. Giuseppe appears, his face the color of uncooked dough. Mr. Sorrentino, please, 1,000 apologies. She's been serving me for 6 months, Giuseppe. Matteo's voice cuts through the owner's panic. She's not new. And accidents happen. They leave, all 3 men, moving toward the entrance with coordinated grace. Matteo doesn't look back. I'm still on my knees when Giuseppe's hand clamps down on my shoulder. My office. Now. Giuseppe sits in his cramped office and points at me like I'm something unpleasant he found on his shoe. You cost me a $5,000 table. My stomach drops. 5,000. Mr. Sorrentino spends that much every time he comes here. And you just dumped pasta on his shoes like some kind of amateur. Giuseppe pulls an envelope from his desk. You're done for tonight. Come back tomorrow. We'll talk about whether you still have a job. The envelope is thin. My tips from tonight, maybe $70. I take it with hands that have stopped shaking through sheer force of will. I leave through the back entrance. The November air cuts through my thin server's uniform. I pull my coat tighter and start walking toward the subway. I saved him. I don't know why I care. But I heard the words in Arabic, heard the certainty in those voices, and I couldn't let it happen. Now I'm probably unemployed, and the men at table 4 know something went wrong with their plan. The thought stops me cold. They know. They watched me serve table 9. Watch me stumble. If they're smart, and people who plan murders in public restaurants are usually smart, they'll wonder if it was really an accident. And if they decide it wasn't, I'm a loose end. I turn around and walk back toward Luciano's. I slip through the kitchen door. Marco is scrubbing down his station, whistling, completely relaxed. Too relaxed for someone who just failed to poison a customer. Thought Giuseppe sent you home, he says. Left my phone in my locker. The lie comes easy. Figured I'd help clean while I'm here. I watch him work. If he's the one who took money to poison Matteo Sorrentino, he's either the best actor I've ever seen, or he genuinely has no idea his plan failed. I grab my phone and leave through the kitchen door. That was sloppy. The voice comes from the shadows near the dumpster. I spin, hand reaching for the pepper spray on my keychain. A figure steps into the weak light. Tall. Dark coat. You should have just let me eat the pasta. My heart stops. Matteo Sorrentino walks toward me. His shoes are different. He must have changed them, and his coat is open despite the cold. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do. He stops 3 feet away. You speak Arabic. You heard something at table 4. And you manufactured an accident to keep me from eating poisoned food. My hand tightens on the pepper spray. That's crazy. You've been serving me for 6 months. You've never dropped a plate, never stumbled, never made a mistake. And tonight you suddenly became clumsy right as my entree arrived. I haven't eaten since. You had a granola bar at 4 p.m. You drank 3 cups of coffee during your shift. And you ate half a cannoli that Jessica left in the kitchen. He says it all without emotion. So the story about being dizzy from hunger is bullshit. I should run. But my feet won't move. How do you know what I ate? Because I pay attention. He takes another step closer. The question is, why did you? Why did I what? Why did you save me? He says it like he's genuinely curious. You don't know me. You're a waitress working for tips. So why throw away your job to protect someone like me? The honest answer sits on my tongue, because I heard them planning to kill you, and I couldn't just let it happen, but I swallow it back. I didn't throw away my job. I had an accident. You're scared, he observes. Your pulse is visible in your throat, but you're not running. Why? Because you're blocking the exit. The street is 20 feet that way. He nods toward the mouth of the alley. You could run, but you're staying. He's right, because running now means confirming every suspicion he has. I don't have anything to tell you. I say quietly. Matteo studies me for a long moment. Then he reaches into his coat pocket. I tense. He pulls out a business card. Simple black cardstock with a phone number printed in white. When you decide to stop lying, he says, holding the card out. Call this number. I don't take the card. Yes, you are. And you're bad at it. He sets the card on top of the dumpster between us. But if you heard something tonight that made you risk your job to save my life, then the people you hurt aren't done. They'll try again. And next time, you might not be in a position to drop a plate. Why do you care? Matteo looks back over his shoulder. Because you made it your problem the moment you intervened. And I don't leave debts unpaid. Then he walks out of the alley, leaving me alone with a business card and the sick certainty that my life just got infinitely more complicated. I stand in the alley for 5 full minutes after he leaves. The business card sits on the dumpster like a snake I'm being asked to handle. I should leave it there. Instead, I pick it up. The cardstock is heavy, expensive. No name. No company. Just a phone number. I slip it into my coat pocket and start walking toward the subway. The train to Astoria is half empty. I find a seat and pull out my phone. Rent reminder. Electric bill past due. A text from my roommate asking if I can cover utilities. $43 in my checking account. Possibly no job after tomorrow. And I'm now tangled up with whatever mess Matteo Sorrentino calls his daily life. My mother would have laughed. Or cried. Probably both. The apartment is dark when I get home. I make myself a sleeve of crackers that serves as dinner and sit on the edge of my bed, the business card heavy in my pocket. I should throw it away. Should show up at Luciano's tomorrow, apologize to Giuseppe, and pray he gives me my job back. But I can't stop thinking about the conversation at table 4. The cold certainty in those voices. The poison is already in the kitchen. If they tried once, they'll try again. I pull out my phone and stare at the number on the card. My thumb hovers over the screen. Then I think about my mother. About the stories she told of Beirut during the Civil War, of choosing between dangerous and more dangerous. She never told me to be brave. She told me to be smart. Smart means staying out of this. But smart also means recognizing when you're already in it, whether you want to be or not. I dial the number. It rings twice before a woman's voice answers. Sorrentino. I need to speak to Matteo. Your name. He said to tell you Matteo needs to speak with me. That you'd connect me. There's a pause. Hold. Then a click. And Matteo's voice, as calm as if I'd called during business hours. You lasted 3 hours. I expected at least until morning. You were right, I say. I heard something. At table 4. They were speaking Arabic. They said the poison was already in the kitchen. Said your meal would be the last thing you tasted. Silence. But not empty silence. I can hear him breathing, processing. You speak Arabic, he says finally. My mother was from Lebanon. She taught me. How fluent. Fluent enough to understand murder plans, apparently. Another pause. Then, where are you? Home. Astoria. Stay there. Don't go anywhere until I call you back. Do you understand? I don't take orders from Nadia. He says my name like it's something familiar. If those men from table 4 realize you understood them, you become a problem they need to solve. So until I know who they are and what they're planning, you stay somewhere they can't find you easily. Understood. My apartment suddenly feels smaller. The walls thinner. How do you know my name? It's on your name tag. A hint of amusement colors his voice. Also your pay stubs, your W-2, and the lease agreement that shows up in a background check. You ran a background check on me? I run background checks on everyone who serves me food. Occupational hazard. His voice shifts. Lock your door. Don't answer if someone knocks. And keep your phone on. I'll call you within the hour. What are you going to do? Find out who's trying to kill me, and why they thought poisoning me at Luciano's was going to work. The line goes dead. I check the door locks, the chain, the window locks. All of it's suddenly insufficient. Someone tried to kill Matteo Sorrentino tonight, and I stopped them, which means now they might come for me. The hour passes in segments of terror and forced calm. Every sound in the building becomes a potential threat. My phone rings at exactly 1 a.m. Pack a bag. Matteo's voice, no preamble. Enough for 3 days. You have 15 minutes. I'm not going anywhere with Table 4 was a contract crew out of Newark. 3 of them have warrants. The 4th is connected to a Russian organization trying to move into Manhattan territories. He's speaking fast now, clipped. They paid someone in Luciano's kitchen $10,000 to poison my food. And they know something went wrong because I walked out alive. My mouth goes dry. How do you know all this? Because I've spent the last hour asking questions people didn't want to answer. And what I learned is that you're not safe in that apartment. So pack a bag, and when the car arrives in 12 minutes, you get in it. What car? Black Mercedes. License plate Hotel Charlie 7149. Driver's name is Marcus, 6'1", bald, scar on his left cheek. He'll knock 3 times. Pause, knock twice more. Don't open the door for anyone else. I'm already moving toward my closet. Where am I going? Somewhere safe. That's not an answer. It's the only answer you're getting right now. His voice softened slightly. Nadia, I know you don't trust me. I know this is insane. But those men at table 4 are professionals. And right now, you're the only person who can identify them. That makes you valuable. And dangerous. And they will find you if you stay where you are. How do they even know who I am? Giuseppe's security cameras. Employee records. Your tax documents with your address. He pauses. It took me an hour to find everything. It'll take them maybe 2. So pack. Now. The line goes dead. I throw clothes into a duffel bag. Jeans, shirts, underwear, my warmest sweater. Toiletries. My laptop. The photograph of my mother. 13 minutes later, someone knocks. 3 times. Pause. Twice more. I check the peephole. A tall, bald man with a scar cutting through his left cheek stands in the hallway. I open the door with the chain attached. Nadia Corey? Who are you? Marcus Chun. Mr. Sorrentino sent me. He holds up his phone, showing a text. The number matches the business card. He said you'd be nervous. I unhook the chain and open the door. Marcus is exactly as described. He glances at my duffel bag, nods approval. That's it. I travel light. Smart. He gestures toward the stairs. Car's out front. We should move. The Mercedes is warm and smells like leather. Marcus holds the door open, waits until I'm inside, then closes it with a soft click. We pull away at exactly 1:17 a.m. I watch Storia disappear through the window. Where are we going? I ask. Marcus glances at me in the rearview mirror. Mr. Sorrentino will explain when we arrive. We drive for 20 minutes, crossing into Manhattan, winding through streets I recognize and then streets I don't. Finally, Marcus pulls up in front of a building on the Upper East Side. All glass and steel and doormen who look like they moonlight as bouncers. The lobby is marble and modern art and the kind of quiet that only exists in buildings where rent is measured in tens of thousands. We take an elevator to the 17th floor. Marcus uses a key card to access it. The elevator opens directly into an apartment. Not a hallway. The elevator door opens, and I'm standing in someone's living room. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlook Manhattan. Leather furniture, clean lines, art on the walls that probably costs more than I'll earn in my lifetime. A kitchen visible through an archway. And standing by the windows is Matteo Sorrentino. He turns when the elevator dings. Still wearing the black suit from dinner, though he shed the jacket and rolled his sleeves. He looks tired and angry. Thank you, Marcus. He doesn't look away from me. That'll be all. Marcus sets my duffel bag near the elevator and disappears. I'm alone with Matteo at 1:30 in the morning. Welcome to my home, he says. We need to talk. The apartment is silent except for the ambient hum of the city 17 floors below. I stand near the elevator, my duffel bag at my feet. You should sit. He gestures toward the leather couch. I'm fine standing. Nadia. He says my name with patience. I understand you're scared, but we have things to discuss, and you'll be more comfortable sitting. Comfortable. I laugh. I'm in a stranger's apartment at 1:30 because someone tried to poison you. I don't think comfortable is on the table. Something flickers across his face, might be respect. Fair point, but the offer stands. I stay standing. Matteo moves to the kitchen. He returns with 2 glasses of water, sets one on the coffee table, keeps the other. You said the men at table 4 were speaking Arabic, he says. Tell me exactly what you heard. I repeat the conversation. The poison already in the kitchen. The cook being paid. Mateo listens without interrupting. Anything else? Descriptions? Names? No names. And I didn't look at them closely enough. I wrapped my arms around myself. They were watching you. All four of them. Like they were waiting for something to happen. They were waiting for me to die. He says it clinically. And when I didn't, they knew their plan failed. How do you know it was them? Because I had Giuseppe pull the security footage. Mateo sets his glass down. 3 of the 4 men have criminal records. The 4th is Dmitry Volkov, a lieutenant in the Morozov organization out of Brighton Beach. The name means nothing to me. The Morozovs are Russian Mafia. They've been trying to expand into Manhattan for the past year. He crosses his arms. I've been blocking several of their ventures. Apparently, they decided removing me was more efficient than competing. So they just tried to kill you. In a public restaurant. Poison is clean if done right. I eat the food, drive home, die in my sleep from what looks like a heart attack. No violence. No witnesses. His voice is flat. It would have worked if you hadn't interfered. The weight of that settles over me. Why are you telling me all this? Mateo closes the distance to about 6 feet. Because you're not just a witness anymore, Nadia. You're leverage. My stomach drops. What does that mean? It means if the Morozovs realize you understood their conversation, they have 3 options. He counts on his fingers. 1. They kill you to eliminate the witness. 2. They grab you and use you to pressure me. 3. They do both. Grab you, use you, then kill you anyway. The room tilts. I sit down on the couch without meaning to. But I'm nobody. I'm just a waitress. Why would they think you care what happens to me? Mateo's expression shifts into something almost gentle. Because I pulled you out of your apartment in the middle of the night. Because I sent my personal driver. Because by bringing you here, I've made it clear that you matter. He pauses. And in my world, anyone who matters to me becomes a target. So this is your fault. The anger feels good. I saved your life, and now I'm in danger because you decided I was worth protecting? Yes. No hesitation. Just the truth. If you're hooked on this story, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Your support means everything and helps me bring you more emotional stories like this one. I want to scream at him. Want to demand he take me back. But the logic is inescapable. I'm already in this. So what happens now? Now you stay here where I can protect you. Mateo sits on the opposite end of the couch. The Morozovs will make another attempt. But they'll be more cautious now. More strategic. And I just hide here until what? Until I negotiate a truce or eliminate the threat entirely. He leans back, exhaustion visible. Either we reach an understanding, or we reach a conclusion. But either way, you don't go back to Luciano's. Giuseppe will fire me. Giuseppe will do what I tell him to do. Mateo's voice carries certainty. I own 40% of Luciano's. If I tell him you're on extended leave with full pay, you're on extended leave with full pay. I stare at him. You own the restaurant. I own or control most of the businesses in that 6-block radius. He says it matter-of-factly. Restaurants, real estate, import companies. It's how business works in the city. Illegal business. Some of it. He doesn't deny it. But Luciano's is completely legitimate. Except for the part where someone took money to poison you. Except for that. His jaw tightens. Which is being handled. I don't ask what handled means. The silence stretches. Through the windows, Manhattan glitters. There's a guest room, Mateo says finally. Down that hall, second door on the left. Private bathroom. Clean towels. You can lock the door if it makes you feel safer. Will it actually make me safer? I have keys to every lock, he confirms. But I won't use them unless you're in danger or the building's on fire. How reassuring. He almost smiles. I know this is terrifying. I know you have no reason to trust me. But I'm going to keep you alive, Nadia. That's not negotiable. Because you owe me. Because I owe you, he agrees. And because I don't let innocent people get hurt if I can prevent it. I want to argue. But I'm too tired. Too overwhelmed. Where will you sleep? Master bedroom is on the other side of the apartment. He gestures vaguely. You won't even know I'm here. I stand, grabbing my bag. If this goes badly, it won't. But if it does, my mother's grave is in Queens. Calvary Cemetery. I visit once a month. Mateo stands too. If anything happens to you, I'll visit your mother's grave once a month for the rest of my life. And I'll make sure whoever's responsible pays for it in ways that keep them up at night. It sounds like a promise. Thank you, I whisper. Get some sleep. We'll figure out the rest tomorrow. I find the guest room exactly where he said. It's bigger than my entire apartment. King-size bed with white linens. A dresser. Framed photographs on the walls. The bathroom is marble and chrome, with towels so soft they feel like clouds. I lock the door anyway. Then I sit on the edge of the bed and let myself shake. I wake to sunlight and the smell of coffee. For a disorienting moment I can't remember where I am. Then memory crashes back. I check my phone. 9:17 a.m. 3 missed calls from Giuseppe, 2 from Jessica, 1 from my roommate. A text from an unknown number. Don't answer, Giuseppe. We'll handle. I shower using products that probably cost more per ounce than my hourly wage. Dress in clean clothes, jeans, and a sweater that's more whole than fabric. When I emerge, I follow the coffee smell to the kitchen. Mateo stands at the stove wearing dark jeans and a gray t-shirt, scrambling eggs. He glances up. Good morning. Coffee's fresh. Mugs in the cabinet above the machine. I pour coffee into a mug that's heavier than it looks. The coffee is better than anything I can afford. I lean against the counter and watch him cook. You don't have staff. I have people who come in twice a week to clean. But I prefer privacy when I'm home. He plates the eggs, adds toast. Breakfast. You don't have to feed me. You're my guest, and you probably didn't eat dinner. So yes, I do. He sets a plate on the island. Sit. Eat. The eggs are perfect. The toast is the expensive kind with seeds and grains. There's real butter and imported jam. I eat because I'm starving. Mateo eats standing, watching the news on a tablet. Giuseppe called you, he says. I saw. Your text said not to answer. I spoke with him this morning. Told him you're taking personal leave for a family emergency. You'll continue to receive your regular wages, plus average tips. I set my fork down. You didn't have to do that. Yes, I did. You lost your income because of me. He looks at me. Consider it compensation. For saving my life. He says it simply. And for what comes next? What comes next? Mateo sets the tablet down. The Morozovs know their attempt failed. They'll investigate why. If they're smart, and they are, they'll want to know if it was really an accident. Can't they just try again? They will try again. But poison was their cleanest option. Now they know I'll be more careful. Which means their next attempt will be Messier. He pauses. Which is why I need you to do something for me. My stomach tightens. What? I need you to identify the 4 men from Table 4. Confirm that Dmitry Volkov was one of them. I barely looked at them. But you saw them. Your brain registered faces even if you didn't consciously memorize details. He picks up his phone. I'm going to show you photographs. Take your time. Just look and tell me if anyone seems familiar. He sits next to me, close enough that I can smell his soap. He opens a folder filled with headshots. Men of various ages, all with that particular quality of dangerous competence. These are known associates of the Morozov organization, Mateo explains. Just look and tell me if you recognize anyone. He scrolls slowly. I study each face, trying to connect them to Table 4. Then he scrolls to a photograph that stops me cold. Him! I point. He was sitting closest to the kitchen. He was the one who said the poison was already in place. Mateo enlarges the photograph. You're certain? Yes. I remember his face because he looked so calm. Dmitry Volkov. Mateo's voice goes flat. Lieutenant in the Morozov organization. He scrolls through more photographs. I identify a second man. Younger. Nervous energy, even in a still photograph. That's Alexei Sokolov, Dmitry's cousin and bodyguard. We go through the entire folder. I identify the 3rd man with less certainty. The 4th remains unknown. 3 out of 4 is good. He closes the folder. Better than I expected. What happens now? Now I decide how to respond. He sets the phone down. The Morozovs made a move. I can retaliate directly, which starts a war. Or I can negotiate, which makes me look weak. Or I can do something in between. What's in between? Strategic pressure. I own properties they need. I have connections to suppliers they can't afford to lose. I can make their expansion so expensive and difficult that backing down becomes the smarter play. He looks at me directly. But that takes time. And while I'm applying pressure, they might try again. Which means you stay here where they can't reach you. For how long? As long as it takes. I stand, carrying my plate to the sink. The normalcy of the action feels absurd. I can't just hide here indefinitely. I say, I have a life, an apartment, a roommate who's probably wondering why I disappeared. Your roommate received a text from your phone this morning explaining you had a family emergency. Mateo says it casually. Your landlord received this month's rent plus next month's in advance. Your utilities are paid through the end of the year. I turn to stare at him. You went through my phone. Marcus went through your phone while you were sleeping. With my authorization. He doesn't look apologetic. We needed to maintain the appearance of normalcy. You had no right. I had every right. His voice hardens. You're under my protection, which means I make decisions necessary to keep you safe. Even if you don't like them. That's not protection, that's control. In my world, they're the same thing. He stands. I understand you're angry, but your safety is more important than your privacy. And if you can't accept that, this is going to be a very difficult arrangement. We stare at each other. I want to throw something. Want to storm out. But the logic is inescapable, he's right. Every decision he's made has been calibrated toward keeping me alive. I need to call my roommate. I say finally. Actually call her. Not have someone text from my phone. That's fine. Tell her family emergency. You'll be gone for a few days, you're safe. Don't mention me or this apartment. She's going to ask questions. Then lie convincingly. He hands me my phone. But make it quick. And put it on speaker. I dial. Roommate picks up on the third ring. Nadia. What the hell? You disappeared in the middle of the night. I know, I'm sorry. Family emergency. The lie tastes like metal. My aunt in California got sick. I had to fly out immediately. Your aunt? You never mentioned an aunt. We're not close, but she's my mother's sister, and she doesn't have anyone else. I meet Mateo's eyes while I lie. I'll be back in a few days. Did you get my text about rent? Yeah, and what the fuck? You paid next month too? Since when do you have that kind of money? I've been saving. Look, I have to go. Hospital visiting hours. I'll call you tomorrow, okay? I hang up before she can ask more questions. Satisfied. You're a good liar when you need to be. Mateo picks up the phone, does something with it. I'm installing an app that encrypts your calls and restricting which numbers you can contact without authorization. Are you serious? Completely. He hands it back. The Morozovs are sophisticated. If they decide to look for you, they'll check your phone records. So we limit what they can find. This is insane. This is survival. He starts cleaning up breakfast. You can be angry about it, but you'll be angry and alive. I want to argue, but exhaustion wins. What am I supposed to do all day? You can work if you want. I had your laptop set up in the study. He nods toward a room off the hallway. Internet is secure. You can do your freelance translation. Just don't contact anyone outside your approved list. Approved list. Your roommate, Giuseppe if absolutely necessary. No one else until I say otherwise. I walk to the study without responding. The room is lined with bookshelves, dominated by a desk facing windows. My laptop sits open, already powered on. I sit down and open my translation project, an Italian legal document about property rights. The familiar work should be comforting. Instead, every word feels contaminated by the awareness that I'm essentially a prisoner. Hours pass. Mateo moves through the apartment doing things I can't see. Phone calls in Italian and English and what might be Russian. Around 2 p.m., he appears in the doorway. I'm going out for a few hours. Marcus will be downstairs if you need anything. Don't leave the apartment. Where are you going? To have a conversation with some people who might have information about the Morozovs' next move. He's wearing a suit now, transformation complete. But nothing's going to happen. This is just information gathering. He leaves. I hear the elevator open and close. Then silence. I'm alone with instructions not to leave and a security guard downstairs who probably has orders to stop me if I try. I return to the translation work. Italian legal terminology about easements and property boundaries. It's boring and technical and exactly what I need. My phone buzzes. Unknown number. I answer without thinking. Nadia Corey? The voice is male. Accented. Russian. My blood turns to ice. Who is this? Someone who would like to talk to you about last night. About Matteo Sorrentino. About the unfortunate accident with the pasta. I should hang up. Should run to the elevator. Should do anything except keep listening. But I keep the phone pressed to my ear. What do you want? Just a conversation. 5 minutes of your time. The voice is smooth, reasonable. You're at his apartment right now. 1703. Very nice building. Must be uncomfortable for a girl who lives in Astoria. He knows where I am. How did you get this number? I have access to many things, Miss Corey, including knowledge about your mother. Amira Corey, born in Beirut, immigrated in 1992, died of cancer 3 years ago. He pauses. She left you alone. No other family. Just you and the memory of a woman who taught you Arabic so you could understand conversations not meant for your ears. Don't talk about my mother. I'm simply establishing that I know who you are, what you are, and why you understood what my associates were discussing. Another pause. You made a choice that interfered with business, but now you need to make another choice. I'm not making any choices for you. Not for me. For yourself. The voice remains calm. Matteo Sorrentino is a dangerous man. You've placed yourself under his protection, which means you've made yourself his responsibility. But protection comes with a price. He controls where you go, who you speak to, how you live. Is that really the life you want? Better than being dead? Is it? The question hangs. I'm offering you a different option. Walk away. Leave the apartment. Go back to your life. I give you my word that no harm will come to you if you simply forget what you heard. Your word means nothing. Perhaps. But consider this. Matteo has made you valuable by protecting you. He's painted a target on your back. If you stay with him, you become a permanent piece in a game that will eventually get you killed. If you walk away now, you become irrelevant. And irrelevant people survive. The logic is poisonous and compelling. Why do you care if I stay or go? Because alive and neutral is more useful than dead and meaningless. If you walk away, you're a loose end tied off. If you stay, your leverage will eventually have to use. And using leverage tends to be messy. Messy meaning you'd kill me. Messy meaning we'd have to make difficult choices. Choices that could be avoided if you simply choose survival over loyalty to a man you barely know. The apartment feels smaller. I need to think about it. Of course. But don't think too long. The voice shifts, becomes harder. Matteo is meeting with people right now who will tell him things that will make him more dangerous. If you're going to leave, do it before he returns. How do I know you'll keep your word? You don't. But you know with certainty that staying in Matteo's world will eventually get you hurt. With me, there's at least the possibility of walking away clean. The line goes dead. I sit at the desk staring at my phone. My hands are shaking. He knows where I am. Knows my mother's name. Knows details that should be private. And he's offering me a way out. I could walk to the elevator right now. Disappear into the city and never look back. Return to my studio apartment, my shifts at Luciano's, my $43 in checking. Small and struggling but mine. Or I can stay. Trust Matteo. Trust that his protection is worth the cost. I think about my mother. About the stories she told of Beirut during the Civil War. About choosing between dangerous and more dangerous. She never told me to be brave. She told me to be smart. What's the smart choice here? I'm still trying to decide when the elevator dings. Matteo steps out looking like he's been through something. His suit is still perfect, but his jaw is tight, his eyes hard. He sees me standing in the doorway of the study and stops. What's wrong? Not a casual question. A demand. Someone called. I hold up my phone. Russian accent. Knew where I was. Knew about my mother. Offered me a deal. The temperature drops 10 degrees. What kind of deal? Walk away. Forget what I heard. Go back to my life. He said if I leave now, they'll leave me alone. Mateo crosses a space in 4 strides. He takes my phone, checks the call log. This number is registered to a burner phone. Bought this morning in Brooklyn. He looks at me. What exactly did he say? I repeat the conversation. The threats wrapped in reasonable offers. The suggestion that Mateo's protection is really just control. When I finish, Mateo is very still. He's wrong, Mateo says quietly. About what? About you being safer if you walk away. He hands my phone back. The only reason they'd make that offer is if they're worried about what you know. Which means they're not planning to let you walk away at all. They're planning to make you walk away and then eliminate you somewhere they can control. How do you know? Because it's what I would do. He says it without pride or shame. You're a witness. Witnesses don't get second chances. They get disappeared. My knees go weak. I sit on the arm of the couch. So I'm trapped either way. No. Mateo crouches in front of me, so we're eye level. You're protected one way and dead the other. There's a difference. Is there? Because from where I'm sitting, my choices are be controlled by you or be killed by them. Yes. He doesn't blink. That's exactly what your choices are. And I'm sorry it's come to this. I'm sorry you overheard that conversation. I'm sorry you saved my life because it cost you yours in every way that matters. He pauses. But I will keep you alive. That's not negotiable. That's a promise. I want to cry. Want to scream. Instead, I ask the only question that matters. What happens now? Now I make a phone call. Mateo stands, pulling his phone from his pocket. And then we make sure the Morozovs understand that you're not walking away. That you're under my protection permanently. And that any attempt to touch you will be considered an act of war. You're going to start a war over me? I'm going to end one before it begins. He's already dialing. Stay here. Don't answer your phone unless it's me or Marcus. And Nadia? Yeah. Thank you for telling me about the call instead of just running. It means you trust me at least a little bit. Or it means I'm a coward who can't commit to either choice. It means you're smart enough to recognize the devil you know versus the devil you don't. He brings the phone to his ear. That's not cowardice. That's survival. He walks away, speaking in rapid Italian. And I sit on the arm of the couch in a luxury apartment 17 floors above Manhattan, surrounded by protection I never asked for, and try to figure out how my life went from serving pasta to being a bargaining chip in a war between criminal organizations. My phone buzzes. Text from unknown number. You made your choice. Now live with the consequences. I delete it without responding. Outside the windows, the city continues its indifferent rotation. Millions of people living their small, struggling lives with no idea that 17 floors up, a waitress from Astoria is becoming something else entirely. Something more dangerous than she ever wanted to be. The evening passes. Mateo disappears into his office for hours. I hear his voice through the door. Italian, English, Russian. Around 6 p.m., my stomach reminds me I haven't eaten. I venture into the kitchen. The refrigerator is stocked with ingredients that suggest someone who actually cooks, fresh vegetables, quality cheeses, cuts of meat. Nothing like my own refrigerator, which typically contains yogurt past its expiration date. I'm contemplating whether making myself food is acceptable when Mateo emerges. He shed the jacket and tie, rolled his sleeves, and there's tiredness around his eyes. You should eat, he says, moving past me to the refrigerator. I'm making pasta. You like carbonara? I'm a waitress at an Italian restaurant. I've served more carbonara than I've eaten in my entire life. That's not an answer. Yes, I like carbonara. He pulls out eggs, pancetta, pecorino romano, moves through the kitchen with efficiency, no wasted motion, every action purposeful. I lean against the counter and watch him work. The calls you were making, I say. Did you find out anything? I found out several things. He sets water on the stove, salts it heavily. The Morozovs are more entrenched than I thought. They've been negotiating with several of my business partners, offering better terms. They're playing a long game. And the poison attempt was supposed to be quick and clean. Remove me, create chaos while they move into the vacuum. He cracks eggs, separates yolks. But now that it failed, they're reassessing. Which gives me time to make counter-moves. Counter-moves like what? Mateo whisks the egg yolks with grated cheese, adding black pepper. I control the port access they need. I have connections to city officials who can make their operations difficult. And I have information about their leadership they prefer stayed private. So you're blackmailing them? I'm negotiating from a position of strength. He cuts the pancetta. There's a difference. Is there? He looks at me fully. In my world, yes. Blackmail is using information for personal gain. Negotiation is using information to reach a mutually acceptable outcome. I don't want war with the Morozovs. War is expensive and messy, and people die who shouldn't. But I will fight if they force my hand. The water boils. He adds pasta, fresh fettuccine, and sets a timer. What about me? Where do I fit in your negotiations? You're non-negotiable. His voice is flat. They don't get access to you. They don't get information about you. They don't get to use you as leverage. That's the only absolute. And if they won't agree, then we have a different kind of conversation. He tends the pancetta, the kitchen filling with the smell of rendered fat and meat. But I'm betting they will. Because as much as they want expansion, they don't want the kind of war that would come from trying to hurt you. You'd really start a war over a waitress you barely know. Matteo drains the pasta, reserves pasta water. He works in silence for a moment, assembling the dish. I would start a war over the principal, he says finally, combining pasta with pancetta, adding the egg mixture and pasta water, tossing it with expert timing. You saved my life. In my world, that creates a debt. And I don't leave debts unpaid. So this is about honor. It's about making sure people understand that interfering with what's mine has consequences. He plates the carbonara. You became mine the moment I decided to protect you. That's not romantic. That's just the reality of how power works in this city. He sets the plate in front of me, sets a second plate in front of the adjacent stool, pours wine, something red that probably costs more than my weekly grocery budget. We eat in silence. The carbonara is perfect, creamy without being heavy, the pancetta providing salt and texture. It's better than anything served at Luciano's. This is incredible, I say. My grandmother's recipe. Matteo twirls pasta. She taught me to cook when I was 8. Said a man who can feed himself is a man who can't be controlled. Smart woman. She survived Mussolini, the war, immigrating to New York with 3 children and $40. He takes a sip of wine. She would have liked you. Why? Because you're practical. You saved my life not because you like me or because you expected a reward, but because you heard someone planning murder and your conscience wouldn't let you ignore it. He meets my eyes. My grandmother believed in acting on conscience, even when it's dangerous. Is that what you do? Act on conscience? Sometimes. When I can afford to. He returns to his pasta. But mostly I act on calculation. Conscience is a luxury for people who don't have empires to maintain. The honesty is jarring. Do you ever regret it? The choices that built your empire? Every day. He doesn't hesitate. But regret doesn't change the reality of where I am, or what I'm responsible for. I have 200 people whose livelihoods depend on my businesses. I have territories I've spent 15 years securing. Walking away because I have regrets would be self-indulgent. Or brave. Or stupid. He finishes his wine. In my world, showing weakness gets you killed. The moment I suggest I want out, every rival family will see an opportunity. There's no retirement in this life. There's only staying powerful enough that no one dares to challenge you. That sounds exhausting. It is. He collects our plates. But it's what I have, and I've made peace with it. I watch him wash dishes, this man who probably has people who would do it for him, choosing to do the simple domestic task himself. The contradiction is dizzying. My phone buzzes. Text from my roommate asking how my aunt is doing. You should answer her, Matteo says. Keep the cover story consistent. I type out a response about my fictional aunt being stable. The lies come easier now. How long do I have to keep this up? Until it's safe for you to tell the truth. Or until the lie becomes permanent. He says it matter-of-factly. Some people in witness protection spend years building new identities. You might not need that long. But you might. The weight of that settles over me. Years of lying. Years of looking over my shoulder. I didn't ask for this. I say quietly. No, you didn't. He moves closer, not touching but present. And I'm sorry that doing the right thing cost you so much. But we're here now. And we have to deal with the reality we have, not the one we wish we had. The reality where I'm trapped in your apartment. The reality where you're protected in my apartment because I won't let Russian gangsters use you as leverage. He corrects gently. The distinction matters. Does it? Either way, I can't leave. You could leave. His voice is serious. I'm not keeping you prisoner. If you want to walk out that door right now, I won't stop you. But I also won't be able to protect you once you're outside this building. And the Morozovs will be watching. They'll wait until you're vulnerable, and then they'll take you. To use as leverage. To use and then dispose of because witnesses are liabilities. He holds my gaze. So yes, technically you could leave. But doing so would be suicide. Is that the choice you want? It's not. We both know it's not. I walk to the windows. 17 floors down. People move through their Friday evening routines. Normal lives with normal problems. I had a life, I say to the glass. It wasn't much. Studio apartment with a roommate I barely know. Job that barely pays rent. But it was mine. I controlled it. I know. Mateo's voice comes from behind me. And I'm taking that from you. Not because I want to, but because keeping you alive requires it. For how long? I don't know. The honesty is both refreshing and terrifying. Could be weeks. Could be months. Could be that this becomes your life now, protected and controlled and fundamentally not yours anymore. I turn to face him. He's closer than I expected, close enough that I can see the gold flecks in his dark eyes. And if I can't accept that, if I decide I'd rather take my chances out there, then I'd try to talk you out of it. I'd explain in detail exactly how the Morozovs would find you, what they'd do to extract information, how they dispose of your body afterward. His expression doesn't change. And if you still insisted on leaving, I'd let you go. Because ultimately, it's your life. Your choice. Even if I think it's the wrong one. You'd really let me walk out? Yes. No hesitation. But I'd also have Marcus follow you at a distance. And I'd have people watching your apartment. And I'd be ready to intervene the moment they made a move. He pauses. I'd respect your choice. But I wouldn't abandon my responsibility. The contradiction should be maddening. Instead, it's almost comforting. I'm not leaving, I say finally. Not because I think this is good or right or what I want, but because I'm not stupid enough to think I'd survive a week out there alone. That's the smartest decision you've made since dropping that plate. That's a depressingly low bar. He almost smiles. Get some rest. Tomorrow we need to talk about next steps. What kind of next steps? The kind that involve you helping me understand everything you heard at table 4. Every word, every inflection, every detail you might have missed. He's already moving toward his office. The more I know about their planning, the better I can counter it. He disappears into his office before I can ask what extraction means. I return to the guest room feeling like I've run a marathon. I shower again just for something to do. When I finally collapse into the too comfortable bed, I expect sleep to evade me. Instead, I'm unconscious within minutes. Saturday morning arrives with rain. I wake to the sound of it against the windows. I lie in bed for a long time, watching water stream down glass. Eventually, hunger drives me to the kitchen. Mateo is already there, making breakfast. This time it's a frittata with vegetables and herbs, the smell of olive oil and fresh basil filling the apartment. "Morning," he says without turning around. "Coffee's fresh." I pour coffee and sit at the island, watching him cook. He's wearing sweatpants and a faded MIT t-shirt. "You went to MIT?" I ask. "Business school. Got my MBA before I decided that legitimate corporate strategy was more boring than what my family business offered." He flips the frittata. "My mother was very disappointed. Is she still alive?" "Yes. Lives in Connecticut now. Pretend she doesn't know what I actually do." He plates the frittata, sets it in front of me. We have dinner once a month. She asks about my import business, and I tell her just enough truth to keep the conversation going. That sounds difficult. It's a kindness. She knows enough to worry. She doesn't need to know enough to be culpable. He stirs himself, sits across from me. "What about your mother?" "She died 3 years ago. Cancer." The words are automatic now. She was all I had. No other family. Just us. "I'm sorry. Thank you." I take a bite of frittata. Perfect, like everything he makes. She would have hated this situation, would have told me to run as far and fast as possible from men like you. She would have been right. The honesty is startling. You think I should leave? I think you should do whatever makes you feel safest. He meets my eyes. If that means leaving, I'll respect it. If that means staying longer, I'll accommodate it. But ultimately, it's your decision. What if I don't know what makes me feel safe? Then you stay until you figure it out. We eat in silence. Rain continues against the windows. I've been thinking, I say finally, about what happens next. About going back to my apartment and my job and pretending the last 3 days didn't happen. And I don't think I can. The admission feels like surrender. Not because I'm afraid, though I am, but because I don't know how to unknow what I know now. About your world. About how power actually works in the city. About the fact that I'm only safe because you decided I'm worth protecting. Mateo sets down his fork. What are you saying? I'm saying I don't want to go back to being invisible. To serving food to people who don't see me, translating documents for clients who don't care. I meet his eyes. I want to matter. And for 3 days, here I've mattered. You mattered before I ever knew your name. Did I? Or was I just another person moving through the city, completely replaceable? I shake my head. You're right that I saved your life. But you gave me something too. You gave me relevance. Mateo is very still. Relevance in my world comes at a cost. Everything costs something. At least this way I'm choosing what I'm paying for. You're choosing danger, complexity, a life where you'll always be looking over your shoulder. I've been looking over my shoulder my entire life. The truth surprises me. Worrying about rent, about medical bills when my mother was sick, about whether I'd have enough to eat. At least this way, the danger is visible. Mateo studies me for a long moment. What exactly are you proposing? I don't know yet. I admit, but I know I'm not ready to leave. Not ready to go back to my studio apartment and my minimum wage job and my small life where nothing I do matters beyond my immediate survival. And what do you think staying here accomplishes? Maybe nothing. Maybe everything. I lean forward. You said you owe me a debt, that it doesn't expire. What if instead of paying it off and sending me back to my old life, we figure out a different arrangement? What kind of arrangement? I don't know. Maybe I work for you. Translation, but also other things. You said my brain absorbed details your security team missed. Maybe that's useful. I'm building the argument as I speak. Or maybe I just stay here until I figure out what comes next. Until I understand enough about your world to know whether I can survive in it or if I need to run. You're asking to be part of this life. I'm asking for time to decide if I want to be part of this life. I correct. There's a difference. Mateo leans back, expression unreadable. Outside, rain intensifies. If you stay, he says finally, it's not as a guest. It's not as someone hiding from danger. It's as someone choosing to be here, understanding the risks, accepting the reality of what that means. I understand. Do you? He stands, walks to the window. Because here's what it means, Nadia. It means you're associated with me. It means every enemy I have will see you as a potential target. It means the life you had before. Anonymous, invisible, safe in your obscurity. That life is over. Permanently. It was already over the moment I understood that Arabic conversation. Maybe. He turns to face me. But there's a difference between being caught up in my world accidentally and choosing to be part of it deliberately. One is circumstance. The other is complicity. And if I choose complicity, then I'll teach you how to survive it, how to spot threats, how to move through this world with enough skill that you're an asset instead of a liability. He crosses his arms. But I need you to be certain. Because once you're in, extracting yourself becomes exponentially harder. I think about my studio apartment in Astoria, about serving pasta to people who never learn my name, about translating documents in isolation. I think about my mother, who fled a war zone to build a life in a country where she never quite fit, who taught me language and survival in equal measure. I'm certain. I say. Mateo studies me for a long moment. Then he nods once, sharp and decisive. Okay, then we start tomorrow. Start what? Your education. He returns to the table. If you're going to be part of this world, you need to understand how it works. The rules, the hierarchies, the way power flows, and where the dangerous currents are. You need skills beyond language, observation, threat assessment, strategic thinking. You're going to train me. I'm going to make sure you don't get yourself killed through ignorance. He loads the dishwasher. And in exchange, you provide value. Translation, yes, but also your perspective. You see things differently than the people who've been in this life their whole lives. That outsider viewpoint is useful. So I'm working for you. You're working with me. He corrects. There's a difference. Employees follow orders. Partners contribute. I'm offering partnership. The word settles over me like a coat that doesn't quite fit yet but might with time. Partnership doing what exactly? We'll figure that out as we go. He faces me fully. But first, we establish some ground rules. You have your own space in this apartment, your own room, your own schedule. You're not a prisoner or a pet. You're a person making a choice to be here, which means you get autonomy within the boundaries of safety. What boundaries? You don't leave without security. You don't contact anyone from your old life without running it by me first. You don't share information about what you see or hear in this apartment. He ticks them off matter-of-factly. Those are non-negotiable. Everything else we discuss. And if I break those rules, then we have a conversation about whether this arrangement is sustainable. His voice is firm but not harsh. I'm not going to punish you like a child, but I'm also not going to let you endanger yourself or my operations through recklessness. It should feel restrictive. Instead, it feels like the first honest negotiation I've had in years. Okay, I say. I accept those terms. Matteo extends his hand across the kitchen island. Then we have a deal. I shake it. His grip is firm, warm, exactly the kind of handshake that seals contracts worth millions. Except this contract isn't about money. It's about survival, about relevance, about choosing to step into danger with eyes open instead of stumbling into a blind. When we release hands, something has shifted. I'm no longer a guest or a responsibility or a debt to be repaid. I'm Matteo Sorrentino's partner. And my old life, the studio apartment in Astoria, the shifts at Luciano's, the translation work done in isolation, that life is over. What comes next is uncertain, dangerous, possibly catastrophic, but it's mine. And for the first time in 3 years, I feel like I'm moving towards something instead of just surviving what comes. Outside, the rain continues. But inside, in this apartment 17 floors above Manhattan, a new reality is taking shape. One where a waitress who speaks Arabic becomes something more. Something dangerous. Something necessary. Something that might just survive. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you love this story, check out the other videos on your screen now. I think you'll really enjoy them. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next story.